up. It's the first time it'll be held over at the Mountain State University campus on Tuesday, February 24th. And talking with us about that today, we have Mark Hoda from the Beckley Human Rights Commission and Raleigh County Schools, and again, Hoda Bisri representing the Muslim American community. Now, before the break, we were talking about who some of those speakers are going to be, and you were saying, you know, there are 5 different speakers, and it's going to be really good to have both students and professionals that are going to be there to share their experiences, because I'm sure we'll be able to touch on different things.
Correct, and part of the target audience that we certainly will include and have been invited is the student population of Mountain State University, not only in terms of the diverse population, but students in general. And there will be an opportunity for those students, from what we've been told, to receive credit, for example, through depending on the professor in the program, which again I need to inject as well is the department head for the social work department is working on having a continued ed credit for social workers. So that opportunity will be afforded as well, which, you know, reaches out into the community.
All right, certainly. Do people have to get tickets though for this, or is it just they can walk right in?
No, it's open door event. Everything is free, and on top of that, there's going to be some really great food at the end.
International food.
Food always definitely a benefit to draw people
definitely.
in.
When you have Chef Leonard Bailey and the National Institute of Culinary Arts providing the goodies, and if anyone knows what his food is like and what an excellent job those students do in providing that service, people definitely need to come and attend, because, and that's, you know, sometimes when you hear this expression, the best way to get to know someone is to break bread with them.
Yeah.
And this is a good opportunity to do that, to see each other as just fellow human beings and fellow residents of the community, and you know, how much we have in common. And, you know, the other thing I want to say is West Virginia is a state with great family values. We love our families, and the individuals that will be speaking represent cultures where family is the nucleus of their life, along with their faith.
I have to agree with you.
Sometimes when individuals don't know much about someone else, those are the common traits that they have that I think they'll have an opportunity to find out about.
Yeah, did you want to touch on that with
Yeah, because we're going to cover on the discussion about the 3 myths that we have about certain culture, certain religion or tradition, because a lot of people have certain understanding and they're really false. And the same thing, we're going to talk about 3 unique stuff about the religion or the culture or the tradition. So in my part, I'm going to talk about Islam. A lot of people, they think something about Islam, it's not true, like thinking the word Allah. They always think Allah and Islam, it's only belong to Muslim, but Allah, it's a word God in Arabic language. So, for example, Christian in the Arab world, they say the word Allah. So this is something misconception people don't know about Islam and Christianity in the Arab world.
Right, so certainly help clear up some misconceptions
Exactly,
people might have.
exactly.
All right, I know you guys had one more goal for this event, and that was to create a positive dialogue within the community. Can you touch on that?
Well, you know, and that's at the core of why we're doing this. We felt with the misinformation that was out there in the media, and sadly to say, there were even religious leaders on a national level who spoke on national television denouncing other people's faith. And, you know, in order for people to understand each other, they need to get to know each other through education. I'm often reminded of, and this is at the core of, I guess, who I am, and the words of Martin Niemöller. Are you familiar with him? He was a German pastor in 1937 who went to the concentration camps. And if I may, I'd like to share just a little bit. He wrote something that perhaps the viewing audience, some may be familiar with, and it starts off with, in Germany, they first came for the communists, and I didn't speak up because I was not a communist. Then they came for the Jews, and I didn't speak up because I wasn't a Jew. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I didn't speak up because I wasn't a trade unionist. Then they came for the Catholics, and I didn't speak up because I was a Protestant. Then they came for me, and by that time, no one was left to speak up. And those words have always been at the core of part of my values as an individual. I was born in Germany, came to this country as an 11-year-old, was adopted by an American family. When I developed a social conscience and realized what Germany was responsible for, the death of 10 million people, of differences. It has always been, you know, part of who I am to say, you know, as long as I live, I can never allow that to happen anywhere. If we target one group of people for their differences, whether it's by religion or any other factor, then where does it stop? And that's what happened in Germany. If you study your history, it progressed from targeting one group, and it wasn't just the Jews, it was the Jehovah's Witnesses, it was the Gypsies, it was individuals of different sexual orientation, and on and on. And when I heard some of the comments made by religious leaders and others in this country about Islam or our current president, that he is a Muslim, and I wanted to say that's not a crime to be a Muslim any more than it is to be a Christian or a Jew or a Buddhist or any other faith. It's who you are. That is your faith journey.
Right. It's obviously something very close to your heart then.
It truly is. It's something I feel passionate about. It's why I'm on the Beckley Human Rights Commission, and it's why that we need individuals like Hoda and others
like
to speak for us and to say, you know, to the community, hey, you know, I'm not a threat to you. What I bring to the table is a rich culture. It's very similar to your culture. It's, you know, I've lived in other states and worked in other states, and oftentimes I think about how Appalachians are slammed, how West Virginians are slammed.
Mm-hmm. Right, so definitely this area should be able to relate on a personal level.
Oh, certainly.
Yeah.
Right. Now, during the actual symposium, talking about creating that open dialogue, is there going to be a Q&A session? I think I saw that people were going to be able to do that as well.
There is. Initially, each of the speakers will have about 10 minutes to talk about different aspects of their culture. They will address, like Hoda said, 3 things that are important to them about their ancestry or culture. It could be 2, at least 3, at least perhaps 3 myths or misconceptions they have about their culture or religion, and then the role of the religion plays in their culture. And then upon the completion of these presentations, there will be an opportunity for the audience to either ask questions through use of an index card and writing a question down if they don't wish to orally present it, or through an open mic. So that opportunity will be there to interact and ask those questions that they have about those individuals and their culture.
Right, so a lot of chances then certainly for people to get that dialogue going while they're at the symposium. Well, I know the theme is going to be the many faces of Beckley. Can you guys talk about that?
Well, that's exactly what it says, many face, and Beckley is growing, and all Southwest Virginia is growing more and more, and we're getting more people from different countries within the state even. So, and then we have to address that and show people that we need to open up. The more we introduce ourselves to a different culture, different religion, and make friends with them, the more we realize how much we are the same, but we'll be less likely to become, you know, prejudiced. And that's the best way to start. We have to open up. We have to reach out for each other.
Right, and not just a few different cultures. Like you were saying, at MSU, they have how many, 20-some countries that are represented?
I believe, yeah. Dwight Heister, who is the director of Foreign Student Services, could give a more complete breakdown in terms of the percentages. But I know it's a large population, engulfing at least, I believe, about at least 20 nations, perhaps more.
And I went to Concord University. I graduated actually last year, and we had a very big international community, and I'm involved in hosting foreign students, and that's another way for people to introduce to different culture. So we host a student from foreign country who stay in a dorm. They have no place to stay during the holiday. You get them to your place, and you introduce them to the American culture or whatever culture you're in, and you learn so much from them, more than they learn from you, and that's a great way to learn about other culture.
Right. How is it for them, these international students that are coming over when they come here? Is it hard for them to transition, or are there opportunities available to kind of help them get acclimated to our society?
It's very hard, except with an opportunity like this to be hosted in a different... Remember, they barely speak English when they come. They're still learning English. They're away from home for the first time from their mom and dad. So they need a host family to feel like they still have the home. Especially they come around Christmas time, Thanksgiving. So we get them to our home. They feel part of our tradition and culture, and they love it. But we learn so much from them too about their culture, and then we realize as much as they're different, we are so much the same. Right. And that's a great opportunity.
And that's what we'll talk about more in our third break coming up in just a minute. We'll take our last break now, so stay with us.